Hi there, welcome to Series 16, number 34. It's really racking up the points here. And we're going to talk about Joseph sending his brothers off again. And we're looking at Genesis chapter 44, and we're starting to look at the first three verses there. This is where Joseph again puts money in his brothers' bags of grain. It says this, "And he commanded the steward of this house, saying, Fill a man's sack with food, as much as they can carry. Put each man's money in the mouth of his sack. Also put in my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and his grain money." So he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning dawned, the men were sent away, and their donkeys. Okay. Notice it says there at the end of that passage, as soon as the morning dawned, the men were sent away. The brothers left Egypt in high spirits. They'd been treated well, feasted. Their sacks were filled with grain, and Simeon was released from prison. It seemed like all would be well, and Jacob's fear that something horrible would happen was unfounded. But notice, Joseph's kind of given him a test here. It says, also put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest and his grain money. As before, the grain sacks of the brothers were topped off by putting some money in there that they were supposed to pay for the grain with. This time, Joseph orders his special cup, which probably would have been a ceremonial cup, to be hidden in the sack. It would have been worth a lot of money. It would have been perhaps gold or silver. And in the morning, they were sent on their way to begin their journey back to their father and then back to Canaan. Verse 4 and 5 goes on. Joseph's steward confronts the brothers on their journey back to Canaan. This is an interesting part of the story. Verse 4, when they had gone out of the city and were not far off, Joseph said to his steward, "Get up, follow the men. When you overtake them, say to them, 'Why have you repaid evil for good? Is not this the one from which my Lord drinks, with which he indeed practices divination? You have done evil in so doing.'" Okay, it was a setup. We get that, but there was a reason to it. Notice it says here, "Why have you repaid evil for good?" Before they travelled very far, the brothers were caught in the trap. Some wrongly think that Joseph used his position of power to torment his brothers, taking revenge for their cruelty towards him. Yet knowing the character of Joseph as it developed through the story, we can see that this isn't the case. Guided by the hand of God, Joseph tests the hearts of his brothers. And the process would bring them to a completed aspect of repentance further down the track. That's for later in the chapter. Notice it says there, he indeed practices divination. We know from other sources that ancients used sacred cups as divination devices. It is possible, though not likely, that Joseph also did this because there was not yet, a specific revelation from God that such a practice was forbidden. We've got to remember there's a development of theology and rules and laws throughout the books of the Old Testament. The point was to make the brothers aware that this was a special cup. And it was a terrible crime to steal it. Okay, we'll just read on from verses 6 to 10. And this is where the brothers claim they're innocent of that theft. So he overtook them. He spoke to them those same words, and they said, "Why does my Lord say these words? Far be it from us that your servants should do such a thing. Look, we brought you back from the land of Canaan, the money which we found in the mouths of our sacks. How then could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? With whomever of your servants it is found. Let him die, and we will also be the Lord's slaves. All right. They're pretty confident, aren't they? Listen to this last bit. And he said, now also let it be according to your words. He with whom it is found shall be my slave, and you shall be blameless. Okay, that sets the scene for us, doesn't it? And we need to look at that again next week to know how that all comes out in the story. And it's going to be an amazing part of the story. Bless you.